Hello, everyone.
It's Kayla.
And Silas. And this is The Adventures of Kayla and Silas, a podcast about everything travel. Each week we cover travel topics we find interesting and that we hope you will too. And today we're going to be talking about our summer travel plans, popping your ears on airplanes, and siesta bars.
Siesta Bars?
Siesta bars.
What's a thing?
Apparently, I found it on the internet. And you know what they say about the internet?
Everything's true on the internet.
You can't lie on the internet. Yep. In tandem, look at us. We're in sync completely. 100%.
Always.
Oh my. Gonna be a rough second podcast. So last week we made a case for why you should travel. And I just want to make a quick addition to that I'm currently reading a book called The Happy Traveler. And so far it's a pretty good read, but it leads a little more towards academic reading, but still very interesting and has some good points. So I'm hoping to, at the very least, write a review on it soon, but maybe we'll talk about it on here at some point too.
So it's more about like the psychological effects of travel?
So it's, so far they've talked about both making better decisions about how to travel and making sure that travel isn't going to be overwhelming for you. But I do believe that it touches on points of the psychological benefits of traveling.
Got it. Cool. I'm not reading that book.
Not yet. I might recommend it.
Technically, I haven't seen Silas read that book either, but
well, I'm cutting that part out. So
he says he's read it, so we'll believe him.
I'm cutting all this out.
Oh.
All right, fine, I'll leave it in. So on to our first topic. Kayla was very eager to talk about this. In fact, you tried to steal away from me completely and said that I couldn't talk about it. So I will let you lead off to talk about our travel plans that we have going on this summer.
Well, it's just that I planned the whole itinerary, so I thought that
And take it away.
I thought that I got to talk about it. So a month or two ago, we got an invitation to a wedding in the UK and specifically in Wales. And it's one of Silas's good friends. And so he was eager to find a way to make that trip happen within our budget and my vacation time and some other constraints and
forceful, you might say. Eager is a nice way to put it. I was adamant
that we were going.
We will travel to Wales. He even traded in his birthday trip that he'd been planning in exchange for this trip. So I think we found out on maybe a Thursday that we were invited to this wedding. And we'd spent a little time on Friday and Thursday looking at tickets. And then we had a busy weekend. And I remember I woke up on Sunday morning and Silas was like, I found the ticket. We're going to Amsterdam. Because we usually when we travel, we're not necessarily just looking at tickets into our destination. A lot of times we'll try to tag on another place that we haven't been or something interesting. Right. And so long story short, we are flying in and out of Amsterdam for a wedding in Wales. I worked some extra hours last month so that we could drag out the trip to about 2 weeks. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We have a lot packed in here.
We do have a lot.
We talked to one of our friends who, the guy that we're going to his wedding. I talked to him recently and told him our itinerary, and he said, "You're doing all of that? Are you sure you want to do all of that?" And we recognized it was a lot, but we also had a lot of places we hadn't seen, and we didn't know when.
Well, Europe time was short for us.
We didn't know when we were going to be to Europe next, so we said let's do a whole bunch. So
so it's kind of a lot, but
all right,
the first few days are pretty chill. So we'll be in Wales for the wedding first. Like, we're going straight. We'll fly into Amsterdam, and then we'll get on a different plane and fly into Bristol, take the train over to Swansea, where the wedding is, and be there for a few days. That's not, from a travel perspective, not that interesting. We'll, hang out with some of your friends.
Right. And
do a few cool things, perhaps. But because we're flying in and out of Bristol, we decided to do a few extra things kind of on our way back to the airport, so to speak.
Sure.
So from Swansea, we're going to take the train to Cardiff, which is the capital of Wales. So we can go to the National Museum called St. Fagans.
This place is cool. I'm excited to share some stories about that after we get back. But I've been there twice now, and I'm excited mostly to show Kayla because this place is set up as, I refer to it here in the United States as similar to a living history farm, except it's massive. And they have deconstructed buildings from all over Wales and brought them to the capital and rebuilt them brick by brick, board by board, to show the architecture of the entire country in one spot in this here at St. Fagans. So,
but it's also like from different historical time periods too, right?
Exactly. Yep. And so everything from, if I say a date, it's going to be wrong as far back as it goes, but I know that they had houses clear up through the 1970s, but I'm going to say back to
like medieval times
that they had buildings.
We'll use that because it's a
big chunk. It's a big chunk. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big chunk of time. So we're not spending a ton of time in Cardiff. Our primary reason for going is St. Fagans, but it's also along the way to Bath, which is where we're going to go after that. And so we want to go do like the Roman baths, and then we're also taking a day trip out to Stonehenge.
Because Stonehenge
I want to
rocks.
see those big... So I want to see the big rocks. Silas has already been to Stonehenge, but he's enduring my desire to go one more time. Then we go back to Amsterdam.
Yep. From there, we will head back to Bristol and fly to Amsterdam, and we spend the remainder of our trip in Amsterdam or the surrounding area. We haven't decided exactly if we take a day trip or not. That's still a little bit up in the air, but for the most part, I think we're leaning towards staying in Amsterdam. There's plenty to do there.
Right. While we have a few busy days in the middle of the trip, the beginning will be the wedding and hanging out with friends, and then the middle is kind of busy because we're like staying in a different hotel every night for 3 or 4 nights.
Right.
And then in Amsterdam, we'll be in the same place the whole time. We can do a lot one day and nothing the next, kind of a thing.
Hit all the museums, and then the next day just walk the streets and grab a coffee.
We have an idea of the things we want to do in
wine.
Amsterdam, but we don't have a schedule of when those things will happen. Except apparently you have to book tickets for Anne Frank House very early, like 2 months in advance. And
we missed our window.
I did not know that.
Well, I don't even think we knew 2 months in advance that we were going
to be in Amsterdam. Right. Exactly. So anyway, we have tickets for a very earliest ticket that they sell.
8:30 it says here on the
8:30. So that is officially scheduled. Everything else will have to fall into place around Anne Frank.
That'll be nice though. I feel like there are a lot of times that you and I
Sleep in
personally
until
will
noon.
say, all right, well, let's just sleep in until we're not tired anymore. And because of jet lag, we're just constantly tired. And so we sleep away our mornings. We make up for it in the afternoons and the evenings, but it'll be nice to get a jump on that.
Oh yeah.
On that
well, and
day.
there's a ton of stuff we want to do in Amsterdam. We actually, because we don't typically plan our vacations quite so much, I would say, in general. But this trip we planned out quite a bit in advance. And Silas sent me last month this, I think it's called the Holland Pass.
That sounds right.
Is what it's called. And you can buy different levels. Like there's like a gold level and a silver level and maybe other levels. Or small, medium, large. I can't remember. But basically it is free entry. Well, it's not free because you've paid for it, but it's discounted entry into some of the major attractions in Amsterdam. And we were looking at what we wanted to do for sure and what we might do. And
a ton of it was on that list.
Yeah. So I think we get to go. I think like 3 of the big things we were going to do when I added up their ticket prices versus this pass.
Let's talk through a couple of those things.
Yeah.
Some of the big things that I personally wanted to do before we even started doing research were the Anne Frank House, the Heineken Museum, and the Van Gogh Museum. And I think that Van Gogh and Heineken were on that list, or just Van Gogh?
Both, yeah.
Both, yeah.
And then the big museum with all of Rembrandt's, well, not all, but with a lot of the Rembrandt artwork, which I don't exactly know how to pronounce the name of. Giek's Museum, I think.
That's as close as I can get. We'll find out when we get there. We'll check back in with you.
We'll be better next time. We're sorry. When I added up the cost of just entry to those 3 things, well, not Anne Frank House, but Van Gogh, Giek's Museum, and Heineken, it was the same cost as this ticket, which got us into like 6 places instead of 3.
Right.
So we'll get to decide how we want to use the rest of the tickets, which will be fun. There were some like walking tours and some other museums. You can do like the hop on hop off bus for a day if you want, or you can do like a canal ride in the canals.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun trip, and we'll be tweeting things, and we'll be sharing photos on Instagram. So if you're on any of those platforms, be sure to check us out. Yeah, we'll be doing some Facebook, and possibly there's a good chance that we'll be doing 2 shows while we're over there.
Oh, podcast.
Yeah. So we'll be recording the podcast. They'll come out.
I thought you meant you were going to do a musical performance.
Yes, and I might be doing open mic night. Who knows? But we'll be recording these. They usually come out about a week after we record them, so you'll be a week behind us on our trip. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we're excited to share our adventures with you guys.
Yeah.
So, moving on to our next topic for today, popping your ears on airplanes. This is a constant battle for any traveler, most travelers. I know some people who've said that they don't have any issues with their ears adjusting to the pressure on the airplanes. And
I don't believe those people.
I don't believe them either. I'm with you on that. My dad, on the other hand, is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum and is constantly complaining. He looks at an airplane, he says, "Oh, my ears," and it's pretty embarrassing, actually. But he swears by chewing gum. Other people say yawning is best, but the age-old dilemma of the best way to do it, I think, is apparently solved by this article. We'll see. To recap, we found this article on travelandleisure.com, and the article says that the method of plugging your nose and blowing out through your ears is known as the Valsalva maneuver. It's not the best maneuver, however, as they say, where you plug your nose, you blow out, and it releases the pressure. They said instead that you should plug your nose and swallow. Now, this is something that I've never done or never heard of before.
That's how I do it, though.
Yeah, as soon as Kayla read this, she's like, "Oh, that's exactly how I've always done it." I'm like, "Of course you have."
Of course, I've been doing it correctly.
Dr. William H. Shapiro, an audiologist and clinical associate professor from NYU Medical Center, recommends that the method is safer and just as effective. I call baloney.
On it being safer?
On it being just as effective. Safer, I believe that, because it's not doing anything. That's how I feel about it. But you say that it works just as well. I have not been on an airplane since I read this, so I haven't had a chance to test it out.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I can just like open my mouth, or I guess that's the same as yawning, basically.
Yeah.
And that will release the pressure. And sometimes, like, if you're not feeling well, especially, it's like no matter what you do, you feel miserable on an airplane.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, usually I just do, where you kind of close your nose and then you swallow.
Even now, like trying to do it right now, it's not doing anything. I'm going to try it next time we're on the plane. I will let you know when we're in Swansea, when we're in Wales. I'm recording a podcast. I will talk to all of you about how ineffective it was for me. And then we can put this one to rest. But I don't know. It sounds like this professor deals a lot with ears. So maybe
they're an audiologist. Of course they do. I guess my thing is like, how is it safer if we're talking about
like the same thing, the same effect happening? Well, I think the idea is that when you're blowing out, that you can put too much pressure.
Oh.
And swallowing doesn't allow that opportunity for too much pressure because it's not doing anything.
Can we hurt ourselves just by like blowing out our ears?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can blow out your eardrums that way.
Really?
Yeah. You have to be real careful. That's why you don't tell children to do it.
What do you tell children to do when you get on an airplane and they're crying because their ears hurt?
Apparently you tell them to plug their nose and swallow.
Good thing you haven't had kids yet.
And that's why babies keep crying on airplanes.
Aww.
Yeah. No, I'm interested. I'm interested, but skeptical.
I mean, I guess I kind of feel like whatever works, do it because it's miserable if you have
completely.
pressure.
I agree completely. And I do recommend everyone try it once, but after it doesn't work for you, think of trying something else.
Wow.
Until something else works.
The skeptic over here.
Skeptic. Well, we have one more article to talk about.
I'm excited about this one.
Less skeptical about. Yes, I'm less skeptical about this one. This sounds awesome. Do you want to read the recap for this one?
Well, so Silas read this in the travel magazine, whatever.
TheTravelMagazine.net.
Okay, perfect. That in Madrid, they just opened a siesta bar.
Siesta.
In the city's financial center. And that you can pay €14 to take a nap for an hour in a private bedroom, or €8 if you want to sleep on a bunk bed in a shared room. And then it also talks about how some other countries have had this thing for a while, like Japan has capsule hotels. In China, workers are allowed to rest their head on their desks for an hour-long nap. And that in Italy, and this is true in other countries too, but businesses shut down for a couple hours in the middle of the afternoon so people can go take a break. And I guess my immediate reaction, well, one is like, I'm not surprised in 2017 that someone's making money off of this.
I'm surprised that it took them this long. And I think they even said that in the article. Oh, we're a country that has for a long time had siestas. It's a wonder that it's taken us this long to capitalize off of it. But
well, and you think like the people working in the financial center, they probably come from a distance to work each day. And so that's if I wanted to take a nap in the middle of the day where I work and where we live, I would just come home and sleep in my bed.
Right.
But
it's like
imagine the market.
7.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's like a 7-minute drive. But like, imagine the market for this are people who, get up at 6 a.m. to get on a train to come to work and don't get home until 6 or 7 at night.
We'll hop on a train at 6 a.m.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. And they don't get back home to their families until, 7 o'clock at night or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, I don't feel like I would ever pay for it. Is it too much to say that it's reminiscent of like hourly hotels?
I was leaning towards that. And I was wondering, my first thought when I saw this, that it was in the financial district, was that did Don Draper,
dream this up?
dream this up.
But it's really meant for napping. It's not meant for hourly hotel things. Not according to this article, and I don't think so. Or is this just the classier way of renaming hourly hotels?
I don't.
If you call it a siesta bar.
I have not visited, so I can't speak with certainty. But the thought did cross my mind that might be what somebody's using this for. It's hard to tell.
So, do you think they'll come to the U.S.?
Siesta bars?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
No, I would like for them to come to the U.S. I would actually like for the practice of taking a break, a good long break in the middle of the day to relax, because we work really hard and days can be draining. And everyone that I've ever talked to has said, oh, I have the after lunch sleepies. Oh, I'm tired. I wish I could take a nap right after lunch. But that's usually when the majority of the meetings I've had are scheduled.
Oh, yeah. We love our 1 p.m. meetings.
All right, 1 p.m. meeting. That way we can get right back to it. Basically, working with, sleeping with our eyes open at that point. I know that we would benefit from this, but I think that where the line is drawn, and the reason why it won't happen is because people love being done by 5 p.m.
Yeah.
People even love being done earlier if they can be. I will show up to work I know several people who would rather show up to work at 7 and be done by 4 or be done by 3 if they can skip lunch, rather than taking a nap in the middle of the day and then going back to work for another 4 hours or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I am not a morning person, but I go to work by 8 so that I can leave work at 4.
Right.
I put in my 8 hours. Our office, we don't have to take a lunch break or be open at certain times or whatever. So, do the work and get out of there.
Yep.
So that we can go to the gym or watch TV or do anything, whatever. I don't care. Just, I don't want to work any more than I have to, you know?
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that is kind of implicit in this whole thing too, is like, a lot of European countries do a better job of not necessarily working straight 40-hour weeks, or the average American in a salaried position probably works closer to 50 or 60 hours a week. I have no idea.
Right.
So yeah, if I was working 12-hour days, I'd probably want to nap more than working an 8-hour day. But I also think, you know, for some of these people, you know, maybe because it's part of the culture and they're taking that nap midday because everyone else has gone off to do whatever during the middle of the day.
Yep.
But they're also maybe not working 8 hours. Maybe they get there at 9, they take a siesta for an hour, and then they leave at 6 or something.
Sure.
And I don't know, like, how lunch breaks work or whatever over there, but if it's just the thing that you do. But one thing I will point out is that $14 is a lot of money to spend, 14 euro.
Yeah.
To spend on a regular basis just to have a quiet place to nap midday. Like, I think I would only do that if I were, like, sick.
What would that be monthly?
Monthly? If you work 20 days.
About €300 a month, give or take.
Yeah. Like, I probably spend, like, when I do pay for lunch, like, $2 to $3 a day on lunch.
Well, that's just lunch.
I know, but
that's not a
I'm
nap
saying this
for
is like a whole extra
hour.
thing that you're spending money on.
Yeah, it's part of it. Well, it's part of the culture too, though. That's a big thing, and businessmen especially haven't had something like this necessarily for maybe sleeping under their desk or closing the blinds in their office if they have that opportunity. But I think that when you look at it from the business standpoint, it is going to be profitable. They are the business. I don't think this business is going to shut down anytime soon unless they have malpractice issues, whatever that would be, not comfy enough beds or something.
Well, just think about it. That's probably €14. That's probably about what it would cost to sleep in a bunk at a hotel or at a hostel, sorry.
Okay.
But your people aren't staying in the room for more than an hour. So, like, I know sometimes when we leave hotel rooms, you know, there's trash in the trash can, and we've used all the little mini soaps and stuff, and
Sure.
You know, there's dirty towels and all this stuff. Well, you're taking half of that out of the equation, the cleaning piece. So really, you're just paying for clean sheets probably, and a quiet space. There's probably not, you know, a television or maybe not even a bathroom in there.
I wonder if it's set up like a
college dorm,
I'm thinking more like a hospital waiting room, where they just have a big thing of sheet and they just pull it off and they rip it, and so they don't even have to change the sheets really.
Oh, an exam room.
There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. An exam room.
Well, that wouldn't be comfortable.
Well, you know, for €14, you're in there for an hour. What are you expecting?
I would only spend like €5 if
a California king. With plush pillows.
I'm sure the Europeans aren't sleeping in California kings.
Well, you never know. These siesta bars are new. They might have newfangled things like California kings.
I'm sure they're just sleeping on single beds.
Might be like an exam room where they just have the paper and they rip it off, and then the bed is changed. All right, this is your bed now. It's clean because paper.
That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
Well, you know what? The article wasn't very
specific about the kind of bedding.
It was not.
So I think my prediction is that most businessmen would see this as a waste of money, but that it will get visited more by tourists or people like who are visiting the city center. That would be my prediction.
Well, if we have any listeners who know anything about this, let us know.
Yeah,
email us.
Tell us.
Tell us all about it. We might do a follow-up on this at some point in the future. And then again, we might
not.
We might completely forget about it. So, well, I think that exhausts our conversations on popping your ears and siesta bars. And we are really looking forward to our trip. Just a couple of weeks yet before that happens. But that's our show. As always, we ask that you leave any questions you have in the comment section below, or if you have a specific question, feel free to email us directly or connect with us on social media. Our email address is kaylaandsilas@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest by searching Kayla and Silas. Once again,
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Silas, wishing you luck with your upcoming adventures.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye.